In our work at Successors Data, Probate Leads, or areazoom.com, we do a minimum of 2 million letters a year for our clients. 2 million letters a year, going to 42,000 zip codes across the board. And the letters mostly are for investors. About 80% of them are for investors. If I break it down, I would say 75% of them are investors and wholesalers. 50% are wholesalers. Then we have investors. Then we have realtor investors. So when we do the mailing for them, and we see the letter or the mailing piece that they want us to mail, in most cases we already have the templates. So you don't have to figure anything out. We already got it. We know what works. In fact, it's on our website. If you want to know what to mail, mail that. In a simple nutshell, a letter to an individual that you want to buy the property should only say this: Dear property owner, would you consider selling your property at ABCD Street in the city of? To me, for cash, I can be reached at this number. That's it. Sincerely, Tom Jones. Now, if you're a real estate agent and you want to send a letter, try this letter. Try this letter. Dear property owner, would you consider selling your property located at, in the city of XYZ, to a possible client of mine? Question mark. I can be reached at this number. Sincerely, Tom Jones, Realtor. Now, what is the significance of these letters? First of all, most people like to say too much on the mailing, and that never helps you. Sometimes we get a letter the individual want to send to a probate court filing. They want to tell them about every designation, anything, my sincere condolences to you and your family in a time of loss. Can I help you? Friend, never send a letter like that to anybody. Look, if you're a family member, you should show up at the funeral, right? And if you're not the person who will send a condolence card to somebody you know, then it's no place for you as an agent or realtor investor bring up that personal issues, because you just don't know how the recipient will interpret that. Okay, so keep it simple, keep it short. Now, reason I'm making you this video is this. Then we have agents who are investors and they want to tell them, I want to buy the property for all cash. And then I said, but you're also an agent, right? I said, yes. Should I put that on a letter or should I not put that on a letter? I say, friend, the law has no problem with you making money as an investor. Where the problem comes, if you have a real estate license, you must disclose that. Disclose that, the fact that you have a real estate license, you're a broker. Now, after you said that, you can say, I like to purchase that property. That's totally above reproach. But don't hide the fact that you have a license, number one. Number two, be honest and upfront about it. It's important to be above reproach. Now, I'm going to take this one step further for you. Let me talk to you as a real estate agent who want to be an investor. The call comes in, the individual is highly motivated, the house is vacant, needs a lot of work, and your heart is just pumping left and right. Oh, I like to buy that property for myself. I like to buy it for myself. Well, hold on, friend. Let me help you, walk you through this thing. Yes, you're anxious to hand somebody a check to buy the property, but one step at a time. Follow my instructions. I've done this business for a lot of years. You see, all these gray hairs are $100 bills that went to the wrong pocket. I know something about this business. My office gets about 100, 120 calls a day. And we have investors, wholesalers, all kinds of people who use our data and our services. And we get a lot of feedbacks. Some of them want advice, some of them have feedback, some of them will say us, hey, you sent that 15,000 letters for me, worked out really good. Can you change this, or what do you think about this? These are the decisions that we deal with them all day long. Okay. How you should approach the situation. You go to the property, they ask you, what can you sell the property? Be honest and upfront and tell them, Mr. Johnson, I looked at the property, If the property was fixed up, well, my estimate would be about $20,000-$30,000 for somebody to come here and got the property out and put it back together. You know, the kitchen needs to be updated. The carpet is 1974, 1975. All that has to be turned over, and they agree with you. So property probably needs about $30,000-$40,000 to be updated. Now, if the property was up to date, let's say it's worth about $225,000. Okay, and if somebody were to come and buy the property, it's going to take them 5-6 months. They're going to borrow the money, they're going to give it to you, and all this takes time and resources and carrying costs. So you can walk an owner of the property through the process of explaining him what is the property worth as is. Tell them the honest truth. Let me tell you something. I bought properties for a lot of years. Then a few 10, 12 years ago, I was buying so many properties. I decided to give up my real estate license just for that reason. Look, in a single year, I bought, fixed, and sold 203 houses. I had 45 people working for me. And I didn't want to disclose every time I have a license, this and that. I literally gave up the license, didn't need the license. But I'm not telling you to give up your license. I'm just giving you my situation. Now, when you walk somebody through all that to give them an as-is price of a property, picture this. And they say, okay, so really if the house was fixed up, was worth $225,000, I see an investor will come here, will spend blood and sweat for about 4 or 5 months to do this and that. They're going to earn their money. They're going to need to make some money. And you say, look, if you were to do this thing, wouldn't it be fair for you to get a reward of $20,000, $30,000? And most likely they say, you know what, you're probably right. Okay, so our house is really as is worth about $140,000. Yeah, it's about right. Nothing has been done to the house for 30, 40 years that your dad owned the property, and it's about that much. Take the listing of the property first. Take the listing as what you think is a fair deal for anybody else. The next day, you can approach him and say, you know what, on the way home, I was thinking about it, that I might be interested to buy the property from you. Now think about it. Take the listing in the first appointment. Be honest about it. Price it fair and get the listing. Approach them the next day to see if they're willing to sell you the property. You see how it works? Because here's the reason. You call me, I'm an agent. Yes, I like to buy the property. I want to buy the property. I show up over there with all the enthusiasm, and I say, you know what? I'd like to pay you $140,000, and you say no. We should get more money and all that. And you say no. Okay, well then we can do this thing. Now I say, well, let me just put another hat on. I'm also an agent. Can I now Can I now list the property from you? Well, I just let you down. I say, no, I don't think so. You didn't come true. I'm not going to list the property with you. That's the drawback. You see? It pays to be honest. It pays to be above reproach. So the next day you call them, you say, Mr. Johnson, yes, I was thinking I might be interested to buy the property myself. Now I notice on the property you guys owe about $80,000. And based on my calculations here, if I sell the property at this price, your net is about $50,000. Do you think there is any flexibility on that? Can you work with me? They say yes, maybe, maybe not. And of course, and see, honesty pays. That's how you should buy the property for yourself as a realtor. Here's a problem you have. If you don't disclose you have a real estate license, you bought the property for $140,000. Because you went over there, you said it's worth $140,000, I'm giving you $140,000. You then fix up the property, you put it at $225,000, and the seller's cousin happened to drive by the property and see it's for sale, all fixed up. Well, he calls his cousin, hey, remember your dad's house? You sold it to that guy? Now they got it for sale. Really? How much? $225,000. What? How can they sell it for that much? Well, in fact, look, the guy who bought the property from you, he was an agent. Wait a second, he never told me he was an agent. How is that possible? You got a problem right there. because you did not disclose that you were an agent. Now, I bought properties when I had my license, told everybody I got a license. It was on my letter. Now, let me show you this. On the bottom of your letter, always write, if your property is listed with a broker, have the broker call me. That's a disclaimer. In California, it's mandatory to put the BRE number there. Now, we do the mailing across the country. Some states, you don't have to say it. Some states, as long as you tell the person when they call you, that's great. But listen, my dear friend, go to highest level of being upfront with people. Tell them upfront that you have a license. So let's make it simple. In summary, if you want to buy a property as a real estate agent for yourself, acting as an investor, tell them that you have a license. In the first appointment, take the listing. Walk the owner or the seller in a process of explaining to them how much the property is worth as is. Be honest and upfront with them and explain to them that somebody will have to come here and put so much money and spend 3 or 4 months. They should get $20,000, $30,000 rewards for their hard work. Most people are agreeable with that. They don't have a problem with that. If you want to buy the property, first take the listing. Approach them the next day with your offer. Approach them the next day with your offer. Listen, if you told them everything about it, now they want to sell the property. When you then write your offer, make sure you document the property with as many pictures as possible. Walk through that property and take 10,000 pictures. Write down the seller knows the property, the roof is leaking, there's problem here, they will sign. Get it all documented. So there was never a question of you taking a property, buying it at $140,000 and selling it at $225,000, and they come and say, well, you didn't tell me this or that and that, and here we should benefit from that. You don't want to face a judge for that. So be extremely cautious. Control your emotions, your enthusiasm. Be fair and honest with them, and you do fine. Thank you for watching.